When I got back from my trip, I felt ready to dive back into life. October air has this energy to it, like anything can happen. So when Ayula texted asking to meet, I didn't think twice. I was excited, even a little thrilled. He seemed kind, and from our chats, he felt like someone who understood me. It's crazy, but I thought I could trust him. As soon as I got into the lift, I felt this odd weight, like something wasn't right. I shrugged it off. I was nervous, sure, but I convinced myself it was just first meeting jitters. When we pulled up, I saw him standing there in the dark, waiting. The way he looked at me, it was like he already knew what was going to happen. I told myself I was imagining things. I should have listened to my gut. When we arrived, his house looked deserted, like it hadn't been lived in for years. He led me inside, and that's when I smelled it. A sharp, metallic tang mixed with something rotten. My instinct screamed at me to leave, but he locked the door, and I felt trapped. He showed me around, acting like everything was normal, but I could see the tension in his posture. My heart was racing. My palms were sweaty, but I forced myself to stay calm. I tried to make conversation, to keep things light, but he just watched me, his eyes cold and calculating. And then he grabbed me. I fought, kicking and screaming, but he was too strong. He dragged me down to the basement, and I felt this overwhelming sense of dread. The walls were covered in plastic, and there was a table in the center of the room, surrounded by tools. I tried to plead with him, but he just smiled, a sick, twisted grin that still haunts my nightmares. He tied me to the table, and I felt this crushing weight, like all the hope had been drained from my body. I knew I wasn't getting out of there alive. When they found my body, it was too late. He had buried me in the backyard, hidden from the world. But I hope my story serves as a warning, a reminder that not everyone is who they seem. Trust your instincts. Listen to that voice in your head. Because you never know when you might be walking into the arms of a monster. It all started so innocently, just a friend request from someone I didn't know, but we had mutual friends, so I figured, why not? He seemed polite, even charming, and at first, I enjoyed our conversations. But as October rolled in, his messages became more frequent, more intense. He wanted to know everything, where I was, who I was with, what I was doing. I tried to keep things light, but I could feel this growing sense of unease. I started noticing things, little things that didn't make sense. I'd find my front door unlocked, photos on my phone that I didn't remember taking. I thought I was losing my mind. I changed my passwords, even got a new phone, but nothing seemed to help. Every time I thought I was safe, he would reappear, like he was one step ahead. It was like he could see me, like he was watching my every move. One night, I came home to find a note on my bed. "I see you," it said. My heart stopped. I knew then that he had been inside the house, that he was closer than I had ever imagined. I called the police, but they didn't believe me. They said it was probably a prank, that I was overreacting. But I knew the truth. I knew that he was out there, watching me, waiting for me to let my guard down. He started sending me photos of me, taken when I wasn't looking. I could feel the walls closing in, the fear gnawing at me, eating away at my sanity. I tried to go on with my life, to pretend everything was normal, but I couldn't shake the feeling that he was always there, lurking in the shadows. It was like he had woven himself into the fabric of my life, and there was no escape. Finally, the police caught him. They found hundreds of photos, videos, evidence of his obsession. He had been watching me for months, tracking my every move, and I had no idea. He was a predator, hiding in plain sight, and I was his prey. I felt a wave of relief, but the fear didn't go away. It still lingers, like a shadow, always there, always waiting. I can't shake the feeling that he's still out there, watching me, waiting for the moment I let my guard down. Even now, I feel his presence, like he's lurking just beyond the edge of my vision, waiting to slip back into my life. I've changed my routines, moved to a new city, but it doesn't matter. The fear is always there, a constant reminder that I'll never be free of him. He took something from me that night, something I'll never get back. And every October, I feel that chill in the air, that reminder that he's still out there, lurking, waiting. Halloween was supposed to be fun. I'd been looking forward to it for weeks, had my costume picked out, ready to embrace the spooky spirit. But that night, everything changed. I was walking home from a party, feeling a little tipsy, a little carefree. The streets were empty, and the air was cold, but I felt alive, like the night was mine. I didn't see him at first, didn't hear him until it was too late. I took a shortcut through an alley, thinking it would save me time. I'd walked that alley 100 times before, knew every crack, every shadow. But that night, it felt different, like the shadows were watching me, like they were hiding something. I heard footsteps behind me, slow and deliberate, echoing off the brick walls. I turned, but there was no one there, just empty darkness. I told myself it was just my imagination, that I was just spooked from the Halloween vibes. But then I heard them again, closer this time, like they were right behind me. I started walking faster, my heart racing, but the footsteps kept pace. I could feel the fear building, a cold, suffocating weight that wrapped around me like a vice. I reached the end of the alley, and that's when he grabbed me. His hands were like ice, his grip unbreakable. I screamed, but there was no one to hear me. I fought back, clawing, kicking, doing everything I could to break free, but he was too strong. But somehow I broke free. I don't know how, don't know where I found the strength, but I managed to pull free, running faster than I ever had. I ran until I reached the safety of my apartment, locking the door, my heart racing, my breath coming in gasps. I was safe, but I knew he was still out there, somewhere in the shadows waiting. The police searched, but they never found him. To them, he was just another shadow, another ghost lost in the Halloween night. I knew he was out there, lurking, waiting for his next victim. Halloween used to be my favorite holiday, but now it's a reminder of the monsters that hide in the dark, the predators that walk among us. I'll never be free of him. Not really. He's out there, somewhere, watching, waiting. And every Halloween, I wonder if he's found someone new, someone else to haunt. These aren't just stories. They're warnings. Warnings that danger lurks around every corner, that the monsters we fear are real. If you've made it this far, hit like, subscribe, and join us next time on Holy Fucking Horror. The scariest stories aren't just legends. They're real, and they're happening all around us. Stay haunted, and we'll see you in the next nightmare.